Hi, my friends. I need to tell you something that was just this is shocking, blows my mind, okay? So, I was walking out here, and you can't see it because I'm just doing a screen record here. I was walking down, it's also nighttime. Okay. Anyway, so I was walking down by the hot springs here, right? And I had this thought because I've always been thinking about free energy, and I actually came up with an idea in Colorado, and I'll explain that in a minute. Well, anyway, so I came up with this idea of using balloons and wire. And because I was trying to think about what could we do to generate energy that's already here, almost free energy, right? And I know that there's been, oh my gosh, there's probably over 200 different techniques of generating free energy in this world. Kid you not, free for all of us. And somewhere, I used to have a friend named Dale Pitcher, and he was a physicist in Denver, Colorado. Great guy, by the way, Dale Pitcher. You know, I'm gonna send a prayer for him because I haven't heard him for more than a year. So I hope that Dale Pitcher, God bless him, Father Creator, in the name of the Lord. Please make sure Dale is fine. The reason I said that because through this ventures, we haven't been in touch. Sometimes we emailed, but he had some major heart conditions and stuff like that a couple of years ago. Okay. Anyway, so Dale Pitcher actually had shown me some free energy that he had designed. Not kidding you. And he drew it on a piece of paper. And I'm going to hit the story behind this because let's put this all in perspective. About 15 years ago, Dale Pitcher had designed free energy using Tesla techniques. He had read a lot of Tesla's documents before. They've all been hidden now. In Library of Congress, you can't get some of the original documents. They've hid everything from us, history, even technology. But Dale, he actually had read this several years ago, and he studied it. So he reproduced some of the things that Tesla had done, and one was free energy. And this is a true story. Dale Pitcher is not a liar. He's never even drank or used drugs ever. Just amazing. Can you imagine? The man has never taken one drink of alcohol, ever. Not even a taste test. And I asked him why, because he said, I don't want to, because I don't believe it and I won't do it. So Dale Pitcher is just amazing. Okay. But anyway, so let me go back to his story when he was in Chicago. He owned several companies in Denver. I think at one time he almost 10 companies, right? But he also owned some businesses in Chicago. So, and this about 15 years ago, he was in Chicago because he had to travel a lot with his businesses, having these different companies, right? He had a company in Chicago, and he was there, and he actually had designed, not through the company, but just on his privately owned, that he had designed free energy using Tesla. He used a core. I can't remember all the details because I saw the drawings and documents of this, but he drew a core using like copper and some other things and put it into the ground, and using the ground and using the ground as a natural magnetic field and things like that he was able to generate electricity, okay, for free using the ground. And also because there's a difference between the ground, between ground and not like deep, we're talking like maybe 5 feet deep into the ground and also into the air, because there's a difference in positive and negative when it does it. So you can generate electricity via that route, okay? Like a battery stuck in the ground. And he had other things. So it was pretty simple, but he did this, right? Well, apparently the elite, the controllers of this world, and also the industrial oil complex by your government, discovered this. And so, you think Men in Black are going to show up, and these Men in Black, I hear about the Men in Black are going to show up and come at you, knocking at your door if you design free energy, which they can and will. It can also be different government agencies, right? They can do this because they want to shut you down because, they got control of you. Yeah, they do, right? And the world is under control. So instead of that, guess what? The local Chicago police show up and they arrest him under some weird bullcrap that wasn't even legal. They just show up at his door. He's arrested, and you're going to love this. I don't love it, but you're going to love that how rotten this world is in a facetious way. He literally, for a month, they hosed him down with cold water every day and cold showers every day, trying to make him release his documents that he had made. Can you not? They said, You give us those documents of free energy. The Chicago police precinct in that area that he was at had been hired. Now, he doesn't know who hired them, but it could have been your government, the special agents, or it could have been the elite, someone in this world trying to shut him down. Every day for a month, he said it was so bad, cold water showered me down. We're not talking just like 5 or 10 minutes. We're talking sometimes, he said, an hour. Kid you not. And then near the end, he'd been there a month, the last week or so, or week and a half, they started starving him. Kid you not. We're not going to give you any food. Everybody has a breaking point. So he had to fold. Can you believe? Yeah, he said, I will give you the documents. And so in the end, to keep it short, he gave him the documents. But it doesn't matter, he still had in his head. He just redrew them for me even, you kidding me? But they wanted to know probably what he was doing, right? Have some documents to it. And they also sent a message that free energy ain't allowed. Nuh-uh. That was the message. I felt so bad for Dale when he told me the story. So I'm heading somewhere with this. Now, I designed free energy myself using gyroscopic technology in rivers in Colorado that had no impact to the fish or anything. It was completely environmental, just perfectly environmentally safe. And I was telling Del Pitcher after he described his free energy, my free energy, and using gyroscopic technology. Because you remember I used to work for Lockheed Martin Space Mission Control, so I studied some of these things and used the knowledge I gained also in my head to come up with a solution myself. I was actually driving in Loveland, Colorado, down by a dam, a river, and came up with the idea. I said, well, why do we have those dams? I mean, those are archaic, which they are. Don't need them. So he told me that some guys had worked on some similar technology, which I wasn't aware of. Not quite the one I was doing, but similar. And he said with the gyroscopic technology that they did a 10-foot run in an experiment, some of his friends they knew, and they said they could generate enough electricity for an entire block of houses. I said, you're kidding me, 10 feet. I could run this stuff for hundreds of miles in Colorado, hundreds in the rivers, hundreds. I could probably power the entire city of Denver just by using the South Platte River. Kid you not? Using the water. That has no impact to the water, by the way, or the fish. Let me repeat that. 10 feet could power an entire block. We're talking hundreds of miles could power a city. Some instance. So many of us have come up with different solutions for energy. It's not, because there's a lot of people that just spend time thinking about this, like Kirk and Dale and other ones, right? I never pushed it forward because I probably would have heard something from something would have showed up my door or somebody. But I haven't said this. So then again, here I'm walking down by the hot springs over here and said, well, I guess the idea, I could do that, but, and I'm trying to rebuild financially. So I'm trying to think, well, what's something, and that thing I wouldn't want to gain money off of people like you and me, just something maybe a little bit to keep me, because I'm in a crappy Suburban. It's just broken down and she still runs, but I mean, this is just not the way to live. I want something more comfortable. I'm not asking to be rich, just comfortable, right? And also because I enjoy thinking about these things. So it's a win-win. And so I'm down here by the river, the hot springs actually. It's just a ditch. And I realized that there's, I've seen some people using drones, running copper wires with drones, 100 feet or so in the air, generate electricity. Not a lot, but generate electricity. Enough. And because that's what happens, you get a differential between the bottom and the top of wire running through the atmosphere that you can generate electricity. It's already there, free available, all right? So I thought, well, God, that's a great idea. I said, what about using balloons? Because these folks, they're battered to die on the drum. Like, these guys, what are they doing? They're wasting their time. Why not have a helium balloon or even a hydrogen? Some hydrogen is dangerous because it's explosive, but helium, right? And helium can be flammable too. But why not using floating balloons to do this? I said, I said, my gosh, I didn't call my mother. I said, that's the solution. I said, you run balloons running, 100 feet, or actually you can run up to 400 feet before it impacts, before it's called airspace by the FAA. So you could run 400 feet and then becomes controlled airspace because I guess maybe low flying aircraft and other things like that, right? They're actually trying to extend that. But I'm just saying 400. It doesn't matter about that. I'm just telling you 400 feet. I mean, seriously. I mean, with this, if it's something important, we could actually run them 1,000 feet, whatever, right? And I'm just trying to get a point that how much I could run legally without getting in trouble. But anyway, see, if you had to deal with the FAA, you could actually run 1,000 feet. Like certain areas, there's no flights or anything like that. But anyway, so I mentioned this. So I said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, I cannot believe that I'm the first guy that's thought of this. I said, there's no way. I said, I can be the first guy that thought about using balloons with wires running down to the ground, generating electricity. I said, this is ridiculous. How can I be the only guy that's thought of this? Well, I told my mother, I said, this is unreal. How could I have been? Well, I found it wasn't. Very few inventions I've created. I created a bunch that I wasn't the first. Even Buckminster Fuller, I don't know if you know him. He said there's nothing left to invent. He said that back in, I can't remember, 1930s or 40s. I can't remember exactly, Buckminster Fuller. He said, he's one that designed what's called the buckyballs. If you're familiar, buckyballs are crazy. They're very powerful little balls that are strength. They're trying to use buckyballs now to produce high, powerful composites with plastic. And he invented this a long time ago, right? But he said there's nothing else to invent. And then he said that thing I guess he'd done. And he actually wanted to commit suicide. And I'm not sure if he did. I think he wanted to, but didn't. But he may have committed suicide because there's nothing left to invent. He said it's all been invented, which blew my mind. I mean, you guy back in the day, well, bud, we've gotten so much more than that's unfortunate because we've had inventions in solar panel and things like this. But I don't know. That was the story. Anyway. So I did a little research. I said, has this been done? That's usually what I do after inventions. Anybody ever done? Guess what? Yes. Do you know how far back it is? I got it right here, the article. November 15th, 1922. Already been done. So I want to ask you, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to read you the article. November 15th, 1922. You got to be kidding me. Electric power from the air. German scientist harnesses the atmosphere. Electrical power from the air. German scientist harnesses this atmosphere. Okay, it didn't go on here. It says, they said the problem was trying to figure out how to do cheap energy to provide the German industry. You got to realize this is, right during the height of World War II. I can't remember exactly. I should, but especially being Veterans Day. I should know World War II, and I apologize, but I just can't remember. It's in that height of that, right? Well, it says, here Paulson found that a single balloon, right here, I'm tapping it, sent along to a height of 300 yards gave a constant current of 400 volts or 1.8 amperes in 24 hours, more than 17 1/4 kilowatts. Are you kidding me? And it goes on. You can read the highlight here. By using two balloons, blah, 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 81 kilowatts. The actual current was 6.8 amperes at 500 volts, blah, 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 this, blah, blah, right? Then it goes on that he says, again, you can look at this article. I'm going to try to put a link if I can. That with this experiment, it says, where is it? 400 horsepower is developed right here in the winter due to the higher electrification of the atmosphere. He's doing a test. More than 400 horsepower is developed. Now, I don't know how to convert horsepower, but that's a damn lot, folks. 400 horsepower. I used to run a 200 horsepower pump, and it would pump out a massive amount of water. I mean, just a fire hose, just solid. A 5 watt, I don't know if a 5 horsepower pump or even 2.4, depending on the angle, the elevation. But anyway, Its output has proved to be very great and actually sucks the current down rapidly from the collector of the balloons, blah, blah, blah. He said, her Paulson station has been developing enough current day and night for the past month to operate a small plant. You got to be kidding me. Isn't that amazing, folks? Is there a photograph of it? I saw somewhere else they had a photograph of the actual balloons. Amazing, scattered. But I don't see it here. Well, anyway. You got to be kidding me. The whole world is under control. The whole world's a lie. This is ridiculous. So here's the thing, is tell my mother, call her back about it, said it's already been done. So we've had all these presidents all the way through since 1922, even the ones that said they're good for the people and for this country, being this Veterans Day. And you tell me they weren't aware of this? They had to have been. Because otherwise you had morons that didn't know history or even think about how to, if I was president, I'd be thinking about things of actually providing infrastructure for our country versus dependence on oil and these other things. That is a primary strategic advantage of countries, is to have good energy for its people and also its military. I don't like the military part for war, but it is an important piece. And you tell me that not one of them didn't come across this. And I know who was president in 1922, but I'm sure that somebody had to come in their office and say, hey, look, guess what? Germans are developing electrical power from the air. And it makes the begs to differ. Why hasn't anybody taken this up? Because the world is big. Any other governments, even some of these small countries, hey, we got power problems. What can we do for a solution? That would be one of my actual changes of order. Say, what can we do to actually generate electricity? I've heard all this free energy. We've all heard it. Every one of us, if you're alive today in this history, have heard that free energy has been available, even from Tesla or other ones. And not one president said, what about this little thing we talked about? So I'm going to ask you, how much do these presidents actually care about you and me in this country? I would say about zipping zero, other than playing the game of I'm a president and I'm this and that. Even the ones that I thought were great turned out to be not great. Let's talk about Ford. Claim I'm for the people. Or let's talk about Carter, who said that I'm a peanut farmer. And, what about him? What about Carter, who's supposed to be a real peacenik? He's a very quiet and silent president. What about you, Jimmy Carter? Why didn't you? Because you came from humble beginnings and you didn't continue through humble beginnings. You should have said, what about the power of my small towns? I used to be a peanut farmer. Yeah, you're peanut in the head. No, sir. Because you are like every darn one of them. Every one of them has been a lie. It's my passion, folks. I am so disappointed, okay? Because that would be one of my orders, even as if I was president, I would have a special committee called Science and Technology, and show me how we can use science and technology to advance our country and the people and help them. And maybe we can help somebody else in this world to lead by example of how we care. But not one of them. They do have, I think, some advisors, but I would have a whole committee. I would have professors from every university saying, how can we make a difference? Because there are people working at professors. There's even common Joe Schmoes. You send a proposal to our government how we can do this and make it better for our country. Right there. And then we got this green energy push, which is absolute garbage because it's not that efficient. And it is somewhat efficient, but it's not what we need. And also, about your green energy, why do you think gas prices are so darn high? Do you know why they're so high? Because the reason they're so high is because they want to push the green initiative for their buddies that have control. So they're just moving money from one pocket to the other. Because you're not going to be a part of that game, are you? No, because you're just another Kirk. We're not going to let you in that piece of the green pie, the lime pie. And also to that, guess what? I have a buddy who works on the Alaskan oil pipeline for 25 years. He said the thing is running at 20% capacity, and they could have opened it up. Instead, Biden plays this game, we've got to open up some reserves, this and that. And everybody's, are you sure it's safe to open reserves? You're darn right it is, because we're only pumping, I'm going to repeat, 20% from oil in the Alaskan pipeline. And my buddy is not a liar. He said, as a matter of fact, he actually went to his supervisors and said, can I push that button, increase the volume, because boy, we could solve these inflation issues and reduce the price. He said he's done this, asked them many times, and you know what they told him? You push that button, you're fired, bud. It's political. He said they told him political, you'll be fired if you push that button. It was just a little button you pushed to increase the volume. Yeah. You kidding me? It's a game, folks. It's a sham, okay? But you know, this really hurts. The poor and the middle class are getting destroyed by these prices in food. Eggs are already, I've been checking the prices here in California. Do you know that's $6 for a dozen eggs? I'm not lying. Now, it might be cheaper in other areas, but I'm seeing $6 and we're just talking averages. We're not talking organic eggs. $6. That's not funny. You got a gallon of gas sitting there. Actually more. Well, depends. $6 a gallon for gas, right? And then they tax you because some of these Indian gas stations don't have to pay taxes. It's $4.20 for a gallon of gas in California. But it's over $6. It's like $6.20 everywhere else. There's $2 in taxes. They're taxing you even under the covers. Nobody knows that. Did you know that there's even a tax on my cell phone and yours that you're not aware of? Yeah. That Clinton came along and he passed a tax. It's called the Universal Carrier Charge. It's hidden. It's called a charge. It's actually a tax. Did you know this? That you'll pay it. I don't know if you can look it up. And it is a tax that goes to the government. It's called the Universal Carrier Charge. And I can rather try to justify it. So they're even passing these charges and hidden things under the covers. You got to be kidding me. Because they know that people probably have a ride in about 10 minutes they knew. So I don't even know what else is out there that's charging taxes. Do you know that in Boulder, Colorado, they passed a sugar tax, a sin tax on sugar? You got to be kidding me. Now, I'm about people's health. That was one of the reasons I was running for governor, because I said, man, you got to be kidding me. They're going to tax you. I used to joke with people when I was running for governor. I said, they're going to tax you to breathe next. I said, you better learn to hold your breath, because they're going to tax you every time you take a breath. I'm not kidding, folks. That was one of my platform jokes. I was going around saying, hey, we're going to try to change this. I'm going to run for governor, but you better learn to hold your breath and tell them, because they're going to tax you soon to breathe. And they would if they could. And they probably will someday. So there's a sugar tax in Boulder. So here's what happens. It was amazing that I can't remember what it was, for a 12-pack of Coca-Cola, that it was something like, I don't remember, let's say it's $8, whatever, right? In Boulder. They passed that tax. It was like $12. Kid you not, $10 to $12, somewhere in there, right after it. Anything that has sugar in it, they tax it. And people weren't aware of it. You walk in, it doesn't even show up. You walk in there, it's already built into the price of the Coca-Cola. So I went up there and put a Coke on one day in Boulder, and they ran up like $10. I said, you're kidding me. And when it first was passed, and they said, no, I'm sorry, there's a tax. I said, you are kidding me. I said, where's it on the receipt? They said, it's not. It's in the price. And this is like they call it a Vons. It's actually King Soopers, but one of these major grocery stores, right? And I was in shock. I was like, well, I said, you can keep it. I'm not paying it. And the cashier was there, told me, he said, you know what? Yeah, people, they do that, is what you just said. They'll go down another town just right down the road and buy their Coca-Cola. Literally, you have to go to another town to buy your Coca-Cola or your soft drinks, right? And then here's what's funny about that is they end up covering the cost eventually. So they'd actually just break even or take a loss. So King Soopers came in and they said, you know what, we can't, we're losing business, because that's one of the primary products people come in for a grocery store. They covered it. So it dropped down to $10. And so they covered the tax through that means. But it's still you're going to pay for it, because they'll just have to, these grocery stores, they'll just put it out to other products. They'll, by volume and whatever, they're just going to raise the price somewhere else to cause a cost, or, not give employees a raise, right? It's not like everything's companies are just going to, the companies are paying for it. No, you're paying for it. You're always paying for it. Don't you get it? You're paying for the taxes through other things. Money is coming in, coming out. You're paying for it. So I said, well, that's kind of nice, but you know what? I'm still paying for it somehow, right? So here's what really disappoints me. And this will blaspheme to our God and Creator and the rest. Why in the world do they allow this control and this system so bad to always beat us? That if our God and Creator is really about taking care of this planet, this earth, then why in the heck are we not allowed to let the evil, the beast systems take over and these things just disappear? Now, they're letting this information go through because I wouldn't be able to read this so that we understand the truth. This truth comes from your God and Creator and the other ones, the high command good. That's why otherwise this has been wiped out, obviously, right? There's no way the evil ones, the beast system, they're required to give a certain amount of truths. So, maybe about 1% of this world is true, or maybe 10%. I tell people all the time, maybe 10% of the things are truth, our history and everything like that, but 90% of the rest is lies. They always got to let a little bit slip through. And I think that's maybe because of the good side, but I want to know why not 90% of the thing is slipped through, and maybe that'll be in time, and 90% we fight the good side instead of always being the underdogs and getting our butts kicked. Because I want to know why I can't even, or anybody else, bring this to the people. And I am just, and no offense to our God and Creator and the rest, like you said, but I'm disappointing them because why in the world they hold this back from us? Now, is it going to destroy some divine plan? So why does evil get to run? How does that impact the divine plan? You know what I mean? I've heard everything from makes us better people, this and that, and it probably is because I wouldn't be talking to you, brothers and sisters, if all this evil crap didn't exist. But why can we not have a little bit of a paradise of more in this? I'll be honest with you, it's paradise in hell. It's like, we're all in jail and prison, like prison earth. And we're led enough satisfaction, happiness to keep everybody from wanting to go and blow their heads off. No offense, to be gross. Just enough to make you satisfied. Because I have fought, I have struggled, just like all you folks. I told you I have lost millions of dollars, and I've lost even ideas like this. I have had everything taken from me. And yes, it's maybe a better person said we're going to strip your clothing, but I tell you, I am done with this because I have not seen positive. And I've had communication from the other side that they're going to step in and help me and you and other brothers, but I have not seen it. I'm tired of false promises and wait till tomorrow. Only God knows, our Creator, when my time is done. And I'm trying to serve the best I can, but I cannot stand lies that even come from the other side. And you say, well, where are they coming from? I'm not going to tell you because I have had communication with some very important people, right? It sounds crazy, souls and spirits from them. And so, but then other ones remind me, they said, well, Kirk, you don't understand that we are under the beast system, the satanic system, Satan system, that this is his kingdom for now. Well, it's been his kingdom for a long time. Even the Christian Bible has been screwed up. We talked about that. I did that with the sister. And she said, well, you understand that, that's part of the deal. Well, I know that. And she said that, we probably volunteered for this. Well, I did. But I'm tired of volunteering. I need them to step in. And I'm not trying to yell at them and complain to them, but we need their help. And I wanted to see a change, a real change. And not about some magic moment, boom, where things happens. I want signs of real positive change. I'm sorry, folks, because I have invested everything I have into this. I have given up everything, and so just a little bit for you and me and everybody else, a little bit of a little pat on the back, appreciation, nice, even communication. They've been silent with me for now. The other side, I have had some visual things I can explain to you later of communication, but I need words. I need action, things in action, because looking at visions of rocks and things that are communicating with me is not good enough, my friends. I appreciate what they're doing. I want real action. I want real words. I want the Lord, even if he needs to come back and talk to me, because he has spoken to me, folks. Very rarely, but he does. So you, Lord, even, I want you to say, yes, we're on the right track, even, because I'm getting disappointed, because I am getting disappointed in every one of them. No offense. Because I am tired of the lies. We need a confidence from them, right? And maybe you're getting them. If you are, put a comment in. Say, yes, I've got some of this, because that sometimes the communication comes from other brothers and sisters. But 90% of the times you get communications, folks, so crap. So it's best if you only trust God and hear from God yourself, or the Lord, right? And that's why I got to be honest. I am so disappointed, because I've had so many things that could help, just beautiful things for our society. That would be awesome, but it just doesn't pan out. And so what is the whole purpose of this life if we can't make a difference? About none. And yes, you and me and the other ones have made differences by, the things you do. You're talking, you're engaging, being part of this video, and doing your part, being a good light and a good soul here. But that and I can't speak for them, so that's a good thing. It's an awesome thing. But it's got to be a little bit more. And yes, I understand the times we're in, but you know what? It is time for them to help us a little bit more. And, give us, communication is the key. It's communication to marriage, to families, to friends, everything. And I'm not getting the communication that I think. Now, I got communication today visually, and I can't explain that to you, but they do. They communicate with me that certain people I'm meeting, that why they brought them here to me to talk to me, but it's always this roundabout stuff. I want direct communication. I don't want a stringed wire of, well, Kirk, look at this and talk to that person. I'd like a one-to-one conversation, right? Anyway, so that's Kirk's winded thing. I apologize so long, but I had to get out there. And it's just so disappointing, because now it makes me feel like, man, every time I try to make a move, I always get shut down. I told you, I even had the Rural Organic Gardeners. It's a registered corporation of Colorado. And the reason I'd done that was because I wanted to get organic food to needy families and children in Colorado, wherever, right? To help them to have good food versus crap on the shelves. And guess what? A district bank manager in Denver shut that thing down about 10 seconds to try to open bank accounts for it. Kid you not. That's how I was promised. It's a long story. I was in South Dakota, went down to a bank, because I called a local bank there and said, hey, I need to open up a bank account for this, for the nonprofit organization, right? She said, we got the documents ready, Kirk. Come down here in about 5 or 10 minutes. I said, that fast? She goes, yeah. She goes, she was just 10 minutes, and we'll have the documents ready. She said, it's very simple, and just come down and we'll sign it. We'll have that bank account open for you. So I drive down to, I can't remember the town, but it was in South Dakota, small town. And I think it's on the sea, but it doesn't matter. It's a little bit ways from Deadwood, South Dakota, further south. Drive down there, and guess what? Walk in the front door, and I said, she goes, we got a problem. I said, what's that? She goes, well, we started opening the account, and boy, I knew it was coming next. She goes, we got a call from the district bank manager, clear in Denver, Colorado, different, entire different state. Yeah, regional bank manager. Yeah, it's so important to shut Kirk down to get the regional bank manager on the line, call immediately, and said, yeah, we're sorry, you're not allowed to open a bank account with us. I said, what? They said, no, you're not allowed to open a bank account. She goes, I'm sorry. I said, well, you told me you could. She goes, yeah, I didn't know. She goes, the first time we opened the account, they said, I didn't know this bank manager was going to call and tell us no. And I said, under what premise? She said, oh, they're afraid that, you might be trying to do something with marijuana. Or this. I said, I said, well, you gotta be kidding. I don't have a logo, nothing. Because she said, I said, well, how'd they make this determination? They said, usually by a logo or something else, they can say that you're doing marijuana. I said, I'm not doing anything marijuana. I said, I'm just trying to bank out to feed children and stuff. I said, you gotta be kidding me. I said, there's no logo. I said, it's just Rural Organic Gardeners. And actually, so I had Brother Henry, he is back in Tennessee. I got him on the phone to explain to her that we weren't marijuana, that was what we're trying to do. And he's like, what's going on here, Kirk? I said, I don't know, this is crazy. So he's like, you gotta be kidding me. So then the bank manager, because she was, she called in the bank manager, local. He came in, younger guy, and he apologized. He said, I'm sorry, but you can't open a bank account. So now, I apologize. There's nothing I can do. He came from bank manager out of Denver, regional bank manager. I said, oh, well, that's wonderful. Some high up. So I walked away. See? Not allowed for Kirk. Now, I don't know if that's a divine intervention planned by God and our Creator and the angels above. Do not know. But it's a little damn disappointing, to be honest with you. Because I have tried to help, and every time they let the ones just shut me down. Had bank accounts shut down. I can't have open bank accounts for the nonprofit company or nothing. Every time I try to get, and it's what's weird about this world. Every time I had a business trying to rebuild, because man, like I told you, I have been struggling trying to, have enough, just scraping by that to survive, because all the money's been taken from me. And I tell you what, every time I try to make a move, even people, man, they'll come and blast their brains. I'll have a business partner some guy, oh yeah, I'm ready to go into business with you, bud. And all of a sudden something weird happens, like, they're had emergency, they leave for 8 months and disappear, or they get fired. Had a lady in Texas who, she gets fired the next day after meeting with me, and had nothing to do with me. She gets fired, been working for security for over 5 years at the same place, gets fired immediately. Yeah, because we're trying to work together, not just by business, but also by working as brother and sister to make a difference. So they fired her butt for no damn reason. She said she wanted to sue him, but so and we had the brother in Britain. He's a Mandela effect. I don't know how much he's a spiritual guy about God. He doesn't talk about it much. He said the same thing. He goes, man, every time I try to do something, he said, one day, it's so ridiculous. He said, one day I had just got his vehicle fixed because he's broke as heck like me, and he gets his vehicle fixed. He's going to do some kind of Uber type stuff in Britain. And, Mandela Affected, by the way, is his channel. I don't know if you've ever seen him, Mandela Affected. Anyway, he said he drives not within 2 blocks from getting his car fixed. Some guy comes driving through and swipes his side, and he survives it, but destroys his car. So then he can't work. He said weird things like he had a contract for like $10,000 starting out to do some software online stuff. And they said he was promised it like on a Friday, and then all of a sudden Monday rolls around, and they said, I'm sorry that we've canceled the contract. You don't get your $10,000. He said, you gotta be kidding me. He said it was a legal action. They stopped a contract. Sounds like me. Back in Colorado, when I was going through this mess, I was working at Walmart as we call it, was it level 2? No, it's called a, God, I forgot. I was working in, unloading the semi trucks in the back, Cap 2 is what's called, Cap 2 employee, and just, stocking shelves and unloading the semi trucks. Well, I was looking for better opportunities to rebuild. And then so I applied for Lockheed Martin. No, it was a company I worked with. No, it was Lockheed Martin, which I'd worked for before. And boy, they're like all excited. Had to interview the guy on the phone. This is a Friday. He says, wow, Kirk, he said, man, you've worked with satellite operations out of Colorado Springs, and, you've had top security clearance. And I told him, my background, my top secret. He said, oh, you're good to go. He said, just be honest, they're going to review you since it's been a while. And he said, just to make sure your clearance is good. And, so then he said, boy, he goes, Monday, he said, boy, come on in here. You're the guy. We're going to, he said, we're going to hire you, this and that. I mean, this guy was gung-ho. And then all of a sudden, Monday rolls around. Guess what happens? Just like the brother. Oh, that's what he said. The one that they changed the law, so there's some kind of legal thing that they couldn't continue with this contract. Saying, well, here. So I get a call from the guy on Monday. He goes, hey, Kirk, I got some bad news. I said, what? He goes, because, see, he told me for 20 years, their program has never been touched, that they've always had the budget. And they said, because even when I was talking to him, he said, I said, how long is the program going to last? Because when you're working with the government, you want to make sure you got 5 years or more. Because if it's a 1-year thing, you're going to be looking for another job in about very quickly, or 2-year contract. So I want to say, how long is your contract with the government, with the Air Force? And he said, oh, it's going to at least, he said, bud, we have never had We've always had the funding we need, never been counseled. He said I said, for about 20 years. I said, that's awesome, because most government programs, the maximum you'll get is maybe 5, sometimes 15 is the max. So he said 20. I said, wow, that is awesome. Yeah, usually 5 years is the typical average with the government contract with the military. So he said, yeah, 20. I said, oh, that's awesome. Never been counted. He said, nope. He said, we got another 20 years easy to go. Well, here we go back to that. So Monday, guess what? He said, Donald Trump has, he had canceled this program, the satellite operation, that he said, I'm sorry, Kirk, because, man, he goes, we're ready, but we just got word over the weekend that he's counseling us. I said, you are kidding me? He said, I'm sorry, Kirk, you have to find a different job. And this is Donald Trump, who claims he's all gung-ho for military and defense and keeping up technology with Russia, and he counsels this program with these guys, is improving these satellite operations using higher technology to provide better defense for this country. And this was a huge upgrade. Huge. This leap, 10 years into advance, right? And so Trump comes on, counsels that. Oh, you kidding me? Never makes the news, these kind of things, right? About how the political manipulation. So that, you know what it was really about? Shut down Kirk. Can you believe this? I'm not trying to be egotistical or this and that, but don't you think the coincidence is kind of strange that this 20 years and Kirk comes along, and over the weekend, the evil ones had time to say, well, geez, man, we got to stop Kirk. And I bet you probably had the same thing. I'm not saying I'm a specialist on this earth, but apparently they put a lot of attention on me. I told you, bank managers, even Donald Trump calls and counsels the program. Oh, you are kidding me. This is real stuff. Even my mother says, I don't understand what's going on. Why do they want to shut you and hurt you so bad and just keep you down homeless and just broke, right? Because some people said, well, it's a walk of faith. Hell, it's not a walk of faith. I know God's real, and I don't understand it, because it's not just a walk of faith. I'm seriously, and you got to have a little bit to survive in this world. You got to pay gas to make movable for this mission, And so I'm just like, what? You gotta be kidding me. So my options are limited. I'm not kidding you, folks. I fight for every dollar. And then, I did a little bit of stock investing, and boy, did I make a mistake. I'm not kidding you. I'm pretty good. I told you I'm a really good day trader. One day I used to have algorithms track their computers, and they pull a nice shank, not just me, everybody. So look at Gregory Marciano. I have never seen what the crap they just pulled the last 2 days. We knew they're going to run up into elections. I told you, and I don't know if I did recording this, I said, be very careful. My mother, everybody told my friends, said, you watch, it's going to be political, and they're going to run this thing, they're going to hold this thing straight up into the elections, which they did, and guess what? So now the election polls are closed, and I said, well, okay, it's good, it's time to short. Oh, no. They went and pounded sorry, folks. They pounded the crud out of every short person, not kidding you. Blew the doors off. Come on, 8% in one day. You'd swear to God that the world had just found gold for everybody in the United States of America and handed it over. Because, some massive great news, because that thing went straight up 8% one day in the NASDAQ. You kidding me? And they flooded out every evil Fed person out there and everything to really boost the damn thing up. You kidding me, folks? It's historical. I have never seen that, especially on no news. It'd be like the end of World War II. I said, okay, well, everything's good to go. The country's ready to build. Or like the inflation had just magically disappeared overnight, just boom, out of thin air. I'm not kidding you, folks, but I get to it. It's all coming back. When? Heck, I don't know. We got some, it's coming back. It's got gaps up. It was the biggest push job I've ever seen to wash out the bears. Get everybody, make them, I got to hurry and get in that market now, because look, it's run. I don't want to miss out. Even Gregory, I didn't say anything to him because I don't know him personally. I just saw his videos. He said this, he goes, I don't remember anywhere in history I've seen this move like this. I don't either, folks. I'm trying to calculate that. I've never, actually, there was an article that said that this was the fastest move in history, straight up. And not only that, do you know it's called price to earnings ratio? That the price to earnings ratio is the highest it's ever been in history. That is the price that the company compared its earnings. They're out the door and compared to earnings right now. And you can't even justify the future because it hasn't alleviated yet. So you got a price to earnings ratio that is screaming out of control to the high side. And then everybody says, well, Kirk, this is the big reset part of it. They're going to run the market up, crash the dollar, and just destroy everybody in the end. Well, that's fine. But man, I tell you, it's ridiculous though. I mean, it's so obvious that it's been manipulated that, it's like, really? So that's not one of those games. It's like, it's out of control. Where's the good side about trying to even put a little brake on it, a little lever to say, that you got to keep the same rules, because what's going to happen is these people jump in, your neighbors and everybody else, not to miss out. And guess what? Then they pull the rug out, and then they're wiped out. And I'm not kidding you. There's an old saying in Wall Street: the faster she rises, the quicker she falls. Straight up move like that. Oh, I'm telling you, those are nasty. And I didn't see a bottoming candle either. It's called bottoming candle. I did not see one of the last the down moves. I've not seen one. I'm going to do some analysis this week and just take a better look to see where the moving average is, because I got this thing targeted. And I even warned people that Bitcoin was at 40,000. I said, get the hell out of that thing, see the language. And boy, did that thing crash on people. Yeah. I mean, that thing has just gone flat out. And boy, you stay away from that Bitcoin, because you're going to lose everything on that thing. I mean, it doesn't matter which one you pick. The whole basket's crap. So, and I feel bad because I got one of Christian's brother won't talk to me more because I said he's going to lose all his retirement. A really good Christian guy, because that was his last hope. I was just being honest as a friend. He won't talk to me more. He got pissed, and I watched him lose all his damn money. Don't hate me. So, anyway, I'm sorry to go on the stock market. Just threw that in there. So, I hope you have a great weekend. Let's stay positive. I don't know how to explain this. This is my truths, and I'm not trying to be rude to God and Lord this, but we need a little help, right? And honesty. They're supposed to be the symbols of honesty and respect and helping us, and not just leave us like dangling out here and getting destroyed. It's not funny. I'm kind of worn out on it, folks. I'm worn out of all of it. I want some help for you, me, and everybody else to give us some confidence, because we are getting our butts kicked. And I was told, around the world, that things are going to change after the last, because they like to do things with eclipse, that something was going to change. I have not seen a good change yet. I have not. Be honest, I have not seen anything in advantage. And I've got some personal issues that just that frustrates me out of garbage, that they allowed some personal things. I don't want to go in detail on this, but I'm telling you what, I'm very disappointed in some of my family members, well, even recent ones, that just, you have no idea what just happened to some distant relatives in New York City, that they allowed that. That is inappropriate, and it is more distraction for me and my mission, because I'm about to lose my mind in anger over this one. I can't tell you about it right now, because somebody's even thrown in jail over this for being just something that they'll have a 5-year prison sentence at minimum, and for hurting one of my relatives. I kidding you. 5-year prison sentence for hurting one of my relatives. I don't want to go into detail, because it's just not the right time, because I'm more concerned about my relative than getting revenge or this individual. He's damn lucky they got him behind bars, because I'm not happy. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a violent guy, but I was going to send the sucker to God to sort it out, because that's not funny what he did. He hurt an infant. I will believe it that. You don't hurt any child in this world. And the fact that the other side saw this coming and they did not stop it, really, really, the good side, really disappoints me. That it's not only because it's a relative of mine, but they allowed one child of God this to happen. It's inexcusable, folks. Inexcusable. You don't understand the last 2 or 3 days how furious I have been over this, and how I want to drive New York City to help the rest of my families get along with this, but I can't, because they don't need me right now, just be more distraction. So I'm going to let it be. And I've prayed and all this other stuff, but I'm furious. That is just not funny. Anyway, God bless and love you all.